They say the desert has a way of stripping everything down to the bone. Out there, under that ruthless sun, you find out what you're really made of. And I found out the hard way with a scope pressed to my cheek, and 23 men who thought I didn't belong. My name is Valerie Shaw, and this story takes place at Fort Eden, Arizona, inside the brutal crucible known as the Raven Precision Program. It's the kind of place where even the shadows have grit. Every morning, at 0430 sharp, we rose from our bunks, not because anyone told us to, but because there was something in that era constant reminder that only those willing to bleed were allowed to belong. Now, I wasn't there to make friends, and I certainly wasn't there to prove anything. But that didn't stop Master Sergeant Cole Branson from making me his personal target, practice figuratively, of course. Cole was the kind of man who wore 4 combat tours like merit badges on his chest and carried his ego in a duffel bag too big for the Humvee. He saw Meslam, quiet, ponytail tucked under regulation cap, and made up his mind right then and there. "Nursing Corps must have lost your paperwork," he said loud enough for the others to hear, laughing as he loaded his M4. "Better hope your nail polish doesn't smudge your trigger." I didn't flinch. I never do. Because the thing about growing up in northern Wyoming with a grandfather who survived Vietnam is that you learn when to speak and when to stay dead silent. Grandpa Ray taught me everything. He was the kind of man who didn't need a lot of words. He could clear a bull elk at 600 yards with a bolt-action rifle and never blink. I was 6 when he handed me my first .22. I was 9 when I could recite wind patterns better than bedtime stories. And by 15, I could outshoot the local sheriff at the county fair. Grandpa never called it training. He called it family business. So when I made it to Ravenon scores alone, mind you, not a single recommendation from Brass Eye wasn't there because someone opened a door. I built the damn door and walked through it. Still, every day I was met with side eyes, smirks, and muttered jokes. They didn't even hide it. I was the joke, the outlier, the token, especially to Branson. He made sure I was always assigned the most useless observation posts, gave me the worst gear, and turned every drill into an opportunity to humiliate me. But see, I don't mind silence. That's where I live. That's where the real work gets done. And then came the final trial, a 48-hour live-fire simulation in an abandoned training village up in the Granite Hills. Urban combat scenario. Hostage rescue. Real stakes. No scripts. And everything that could go wrong did. Branson, as usual, sidelined me. Gave me a blind sector on Overwatch. Sector Foxtrot. Might as well have been a dirt patch in Nebraska. No sidelines. No angles. No glory. But I had studied the map. I had walked the perimeter alone when everyone else was hitting chow. I knew there was a crumbled radio tower, half collapsed, with a narrow slit in the concrete just big enough for a trained eye to work with. And from there, you could see the third-floor window of the building where the terrorists were supposedly holding civilians. I submitted my recon and tactical proposal to Branson. He laughed. Actually laughed. "This ain't a video game, Shaw," he said, flicking my paperwork into the dirt. "You just stay pretty and out of the way. Let the real soldiers handle this." I bit my tongue so hard it bled. When the exercise started, everything spiraled. Branson's team moved in loud and clumsy. They missed the breach timing, got split, and then someone tripped a pressure sensor. Simulated explosives detonated. Half the unit was dead in minutes. Screams filled the comms. Branson was shouting orders that contradicted his own map. And that's when I saw it. Through my scope, one of the hostages, a boy, maybe 10, being used as a human shield. The enemy role players weren't supposed to go that far, but they had. The scenario had gone off script. My breath slowed. I remembered what Grandpa always said. You don't pull the trigger to make noise. You pull it when someone needs you to. I adjusted windage. Accounted for elevation. Calculated exhale. One shot. The role player dropped. The boy was safe. Then another. Then another. 3 targets neutralized in under 90 seconds. I didn't wait for orders. I just did what I was born to do. When the sim ended, the instructors called it the cleanest recovery they'd ever seen. Command demanded to know who fired. Branson? He tried to take credit, until they checked the logs. All 3 kills logged from Foxtrot. That night, Branson didn't speak to me. No one did. But the next morning, my name was posted to the top of the leaderboard. And that was just the beginning. 2 weeks later, Fort Eden got the call. A real crisis this time. Hostages in Phoenixa Federal Building taken over by extremists. Dozens of civilians inside. The kind of mission you only get one shot at. They deployed Raven graduates, and somehow, I got the nod. Branson too. We touched down in the middle of the night. Helicopters circling like vultures. Police barricades. Lights everywhere. But inside that building, pure darkness. Command divided the team. Branson led entry. I was, once again, assigned observation. This time on a nearby rooftop with barely any vantage. "Don't screw this up, Shaw," he said over comms. "You're only here 'cause someone upstairs wants a diversity badge." I shut off the radio. Because right then in my gut, I knew someone was going to die unless I did something. I repositioned. Found an angle through a broken AC vent across the street. It was barely 2 inches wide, but from there, I had a line to a stairwell window. And that's when I saw him. A man with an assault rifle and a child. My heart dropped. There was no time. I took the shot. Clean. Silent. Final. 3 more followed. By the time the team breached, the threats were gone. Hostages alive. All of them. And when Branson burst in, ready to lead the charge, all he found were tear-streaked survivors and a silent building. He looked up toward my rooftop, and for the first time he didn't smirk. He saluted. The after-action report listed me as primary neutralizer. A week later, I was asked to speak at the Fort Eden honor ceremony. But I didn't want medals. I didn't want applause. I wanted to pass it on. Today, I lead Whisper Compania Covert Sniper Training Initiative. We don't recruit based on resumes. We recruit based on fire. That thing in your gut that tells you there's a right time to act and a right reason. I still carry Grandpa's journal. Still read his notes about wind and shadows and the morality of a clean shot. And sometimes, when I'm walking the line behind my cadets, I hear echoes of Branson's voice in my head. Only now, it doesn't sting. It reminds me of how far we've come. Because the truth is courage doesn't yell. It doesn't need to. It whispers through action. So I ask you, if someone ever told you that you don't belong, or that you weren't good enough, did you prove them wrong? Comment below. Tell me your story. Let's talk about who we choose to believe in and what it really means to earn your place when no one gives it freely. Because sometimes, the deadliest thing in the room is the person no one saw coming.